And welcome to another episode of Diotalk. I'm Dio. Let's talk. My guest today is a very, very talented director. He's here to talk about his brand new flick called Julie's Confession. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Franklin Genao. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Thank you, man. I'm blessed. I'm good. I'm alive. I can't complain. And it's good to be here today.
Thank you, thank you. It's an honor. I've been admiring some of your work lately. I've been just educating myself on your brilliance. You know, you did this short film on YouTube, The Cats, which
Oh, yeah.
it was just dope, man. I loved it. Then I was honored to be invited to your premiere, Julie's Confession, in Philly, and that basically just blew my mind. I have a lot of questions I want to ask you about it. Uh, you are, I don't even know where to begin.
Man, we got time, man.
I'm so
Just
nervous, but like I'm
just
excited as well
just start.
because
That's all important.
your character, you play a character in this film, right?
Yeah.
Which is Mike, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Mike. That's right.
So Mike is an incredible actor, character. Like when I was watching you in the Q&A, like I couldn't like notice the difference between you and him. Like the only difference I can say is like he's more like raw when he speaks, and you're a little bit more calm. But yet
Right.
it's almost identical. Like, when you wrote this, did you find any similarities with your character?
Uh Not really. I mean, when I wrote that character, I'll confess, I really couldn't see nobody else but me playing it.
Mm.
So and I do confess, it's some of my personality in there. The thing about movies is you can do some things in film you can't do in real life. You can say some things you probably wouldn't tell someone, especially in this oversensitive world today.
Yes, yes.
So and that whole dialogue scene with me and Julie Jasidi, who plays Julie, I even cut down some things simply because it just wasn't like serving the story anymore. But when I wrote it, I'm like, I couldn't see no one else playing this character but me. And that's also to do with like the casting too. The way I saw Mike, I'm like, this has to be somebody who's around, who knows like the gist of neighborhoods, because he's the one who tells these stories. Julie's Confession is just one story in particular. Like he's gonna tell more story, so he's always like the narrator. They always seem to know him, but he has a sense of humor, but at the same time he's just raw and real. So he combines both of those elements, and I don't know. I just felt like I'm comfortable playing them.
Dude, it's like his character is so real. Like you were able to take those words and that character and bring him to life. Like there's actually people out there and here in the real world like him.
Right.
So that's you were able to. I'm so astonished how you were able to bring that character to life. Like it's fascinating. Not a lot of people could write things for themselves, but not able to deliver them like you delivered the words, everything you wrote, and that character. So I'm amazed. Kudos to you,
Well,
brother.
thank you, brother. Well, the thing about cinema and film, I'm not gonna get into a history lesson here, but when cinema originally began, it was about portraying real life in the big screen. That's it.
Mhm.
That's what it was all about, and that's what I just wanted to bring. I wasn't trying to impress nobody. I wasn't trying to, give some, I don't know, Academy Award performances. I just wanted to bring like something that people can see, laugh, enjoy, but at the same time think, and they could walk out of like, damn, like I actually know somebody like Mike, or I know a girl just like Jasmine, or like, you know what I mean? Like things you see in everyday life. Like that's the whole point of cinema. And in today's world where it's just so easy to just purchase a camera, record whatever, and put it out there, that talent is missing. People don't take the time, especially like to make movies. Like you really have to take the time. Like I rewrote that script like almost 7 times before I actually had the final draft to put it out there, because I had to do so much revision. making sure like every line was realistic, making sure like it didn't sound like, I don't know, fake. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm,
So
mhm.
it's a combination of many things, and that's just what I wanted to do, and that's just the way I tell stories. It's just how I, you mentioned like for example, Stray Cats. When I recorded that, when I filmed those cats, that was unscripted, because obviously you cannot direct a cat. You cannot tell a cat sit there, especially if they're stray, But I just saw like every day, like they would come in front of my house just looking for food. And I realized like, all they want to do is just survive. You know, they know like in this house, they can find some kind of shelter. They can find some kind of comfort. And when I filmed it, it was cold. Like it was cold. That's why I made them that little box. But I wanted to tell it in a way, that was realistic, that you can kind of sense what it's like, for a stray cat to live on the streets, but at the same time that it's visually attractive. The story doesn't bore you. You know what I mean? And it's just for cinema in general, you know. Same thing like in music, um I like old hip hop because they have stories and they would talk about things that they live. That's what art is really all about. It's not
Yes,
creating
yes,
something, it's not
yes,
creating something new.
yes.
It's simply just telling something that's real, in a way that it can communicate to other people in the world. Like, damn, I know that existed, or I didn't know like those kinds of environments were out there, So that's just what it is.
And it's beautiful because like you gave this, you gave this the small vision, but you made it artistic. It's an ordinary day, but it has some like a beauty of artist, being like an artist in it. Because not everybody, anyone who's directing a movie will take your same thing, but will put it, gun violence and all these things that we see on a normal basis. But you did a different turn towards it, which it made it a little bit more understandable and gave it some beauty. And it's not the same thing you would see on TV or any type of cinema.
Right. Well, the thing I'm glad you brought that up, because that's also one of the things I wanted to highlight. I'm not a fan of just like I'm not trying to recreate anything new, because I mean,
You're just trying to put your sazon on it. That's it.
right, I'm trying to just tell it in a way, the way that I experience it, the way that I see it, not the way that people have been seeing it, like you said, you know what I mean? And like, for example, I've been living in Philly for the past 3 years. I'm originally from Jersey, from New Brunswick, exit 9. I've
Mm,
been there all my life since I was 4 years old until I moved out here when I was 27. And I live in, what's considered like a ghetto neighborhood, like,
yeah,
it's bad or
in the
whatever. But I'm
hood.
like, when I walk out here, I'm dealing with human beings. I'm not dealing with animals. I'm dealing with people who have, stories. Like, have you ever wondered why, this person is like that? You can't just, because it's funny, like, we're Hispanic. So like our parents, they have this thing like, oh no, muchacho, para allá, eso malísimo, ese barrio, que sé yo qué. But at the same time, like there's beauty in all of that. It's just that you have like these judgments of, that you can't even go past that street. And yet the sun comes out, the birds sing out here, you know.
Mhm.
Like if you saw the opening of Julie's Confession, I even wanted to highlight, that part of the neighborhood. You tilt from the top down, you see the grocery store, and you see like, yeah, it may be considered ghetto, but like the people who live here are human beings with emotions. So it's like I don't see that much, supposed violence that
Activity.
yeah, like they're made out to be or seen, like people have this idea. Like I was in my mom's neighborhood, right? And it's supposed to be a good neighborhood. And I was in my dad's Jeep, and my dad's Jeep, they stole I forget what's this called, like that thing that connects the muffler to the I don't know, it's some mechanic stuff.
Yeah.
My point is like they stole a very important piece to that Jeep that I couldn't, I couldn't work with it. And this is supposed to be a
A
safe
safe
neighborhood.
neighborhood. Yeah.
So it's like, and I've had this conversation with other people, like, if you look at it, like most child abusers, predators, they live in what's considered like high class neighborhoods. But because everything looks fancy, you would assume like everything is fine, and it isn't. So when you see neighborhoods like this, like from the outside, they may look like it's a lot of violence, but when you come in here, you be like, yo, it's just people, it's just
Hmm.
like, it's just people doing their thing, every corner has has the Dominicans playing
The
domino,
bodega.
drinking
Yeah.
presidente, the
Yeah.
Puerto
Yeah.
Ricans chilling. And I've walked late at night and I never been jumped. So it's like I wanted to also show that in the movie, like, listen, man, these neighborhoods, like, they're full of stories. Okay. They're just full of stories. That's why I made the intro that way. Like, there's just not buildings and bricks or fat, chubby little boys, whatever. Like, you see all this stuff, but like it's people out here with humanity. It's people out here that are like legit. You can't just judge them just because they live in these neighborhoods.
No,
So
absolutely. That's
that's why
facts. That's
that's why I
facts.
just want to like to highlight in the movie just that realism. You know,
Yeah, you gave it and I encourage all my listeners, all my viewers to go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime right now. You gave it another, sometimes in life you have to look, see things in different perspective. That's
right?
what I definitely enjoyed about watching this movie, not to mention the opener was funny as hell, which I'm not gonna say anything. It's different, it's highly different. But you gave it that different perspective. You don't get to see that and in these movies we have nowadays, right?
Right.
um I wanted to ask you, I know you mentioned it took you seven rough drafts to actually finish the script, but before
Right.
that, like, what inspired you to write this awesome movie you did?
Actually, I did a YouTube video on that. It's called like 7 Things I Learned from Filming My First Film, and I actually speak about it. Originally, this story was like really short. It was only like 10 pages. I wrote it, I would say maybe 2 summers ago for my cousin and one of her friends. Now, at that time, I didn't know Zay. I didn't know anybody out here. I was new in Philly, but I knew like I always wanted to do movies. It's just that I was studying it,
Yeah,
preparing
yeah.
myself. So the day that I do something, I
You're
know what
ready.
to
You're
do.
prepared.
Right. I'm not going to waste time, especially people's time. I know what I want. So I was like, for a good amount of 10 years, like studying sound, cinematography, all that good stuff. My cousin, she's a girl. She looks somewhat Asian. So the story was originally called Asia's Confession. And I told her, like, listen, do you wanna just for a fun exercise, do you want to film like a little movie? Yeah, yeah, I'm down. No, that's what's up. Da 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 da.
Yeah, like always. Yeah.
It never happened. She didn't show up. She just ghosted on me for no apparent reason. And then, I just had that screenplay sitting there. Fast forward um to this year around, what was it? Maybe like the beginning of March or the end of February. I met Zay and everything. I did Stray Cats. He liked the way I told the story. He wanted me to direct and shoot a short film called Why Do You Love Me? And then I noticed, like, wait, I have a story here that I never got to finish. But I'm like, it's just two people. That's too little. Like, I need to, like, now that I'm knowing people, and
Mhm.
Zay was introducing me like to more people that he's collaborated with. So I'm like, okay, let me start, see where I can expand this. And then one thing led to another. And always when I thought the script was done, I'm like, okay, this needs another character. This needs another scene because, okay, what happens after this? Where does she go when she confesses? We can't just go straight to the reconciliation scene. There needs to be something in between. And always, until like I read it again and I'm like, okay, it's actually done. So you always want to take your time when you're doing this because it's like I tell everyone around me, you only have one chance to
Mhm.
do this story, and that's it, you know.
Was it your, like, was it important for you to have a strong female role? Because the two main leads are females. Was that important? to create this creation you created and have female leads in it?
Um, I just wanted to tell the story. And
Like
for
for
some,
like for me, like I went with my younger sister. She's like 19, and I know I can't remember the exact question. I think she asked you something about being Hispanic, something
oh, that was
about,
your sister?
that was my sister.
Okay, okay.
Um, so for me, it was important. Like I felt like honored watching your flick because now I'm here with my younger sister who's beginning life and to be able to see strong Latinas, in films, which you really only see that in Telemundo or you're in Mexico, and that that part of the world which they produce Spanish movies. So to see actually an American, well, not your regular stereotype Hispanic,
Right, exactly.
deliver, bring it to the screen. I was honored. That's why I actually was important for you to have a female cast.
Well, the thing, one, like I told you, I wanted to tell the story. I've always had a good working relationship with women. Um, I don't know why. Same thing with children. I don't have children yet, but every children that's around me, they just want me to, like, carry them, and I don't even know them. So I've always worked well with females, and I don't know, I just, like, to me it wasn't nothing, political, like, how in today's age,
Yeah, yeah,
especially in Hollywood, like there's a lot of political stuff where it's like, okay, um because we need females, more females, let me just cast females.
yeah. It
That
was
was not
it,
that,
it
that
was
wasn't my intention,
yeah. It was more just a passion story
right,
about beautiful women, life, rather than
right,
I don't even, what do you call that, propaganda, some shit like that.
right, like I saw you, like I saw one of your episodes with the guy who wrote that book, the inbox, and you were telling
Mm.
him, like, that he's gay, since he's a gay guy, but just because he's gay, he doesn't have to tell a gay story.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
to me, it wasn't like, oh, I wanted females just for the heck of it. These were good actresses. Their talent is what made me, first of all, want to work with them and hire them.
yes, yes.
And when I saw, for example, Jasidi, who plays Julie, I'm like, she's perfect for this role. Like, there's a tenderness in her accent, that just, I don't know, it just fits Julie well. And then with Julie Peralta Reyes, which was a total coincidence that her name was Julie, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I originally had someone else for that role, but um things happen. I couldn't cast her. So I spoke with Julie. I had interviewed her already, and she was just down with it. And they had a great chemistry. Like, that's another thing. I was like, I had a lot of, Zay did the casting call, and he would forward me, like, the people. But like, for some reason, like, I don't know. I just know when people look well together, and I wasn't seeing like that Jennifer character. Like, I'm not seeing, like, they're all good, but they just, I don't know. It just, I'm not convinced yet. And then when it happened, we did some readings, and I'm like, they look good together. And they did a really well performance, you know what I mean? And I think well, no, it was just me and Jose, the only two guys in that whole flick, you know what I mean? But I just wanted to tell the story, you know what I mean? And it had nothing to do with, like, political issues, nothing like
that's
that.
dope. That's dope. Now, my favorite scene, like I to this day, I'll talk about it with my wife. Like you had this scene in where like you had razor lips, which that's somebody whoever's gonna watch learn who she is, and the other, I can't remember her name. She had like the purple hair.
Oh, Melissa, the
Yeah.
character Melissa, yeah.
So you had her, you had on each side, one on the right, one on the left, and the girl named Julie in real life, she was in the
Yeah,
middle.
right.
Like I'm not sure if it was something intentional, but you had like this good and bad, right? Like the good angel and the bad angel, and each one were given their perspective on how she should handle it. I love that scene. It's like they had two angel and demons right next to her and trying to convince her to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was intentional. She was in the middle of two decisions. And Razor Lips, known as Jasmine, she represents, that decision that Jennifer had to take. Either she cut ties with her, never talk with her again, but then Melissa will reinforce just the opposite. Like, well, you got to give her credit. Like, she did call you face to face. It's one thing for you to find out from somebody else, but when they call you and want to speak to you personally, like, that's something that's a quality you need to consider. So it was intentional. That's why she had to be in the middle. And at the end, it's her decision. Is she going to forgive her and talk to her, or is she just going to, cut ties and so forth? And one thing that I guess maybe, people didn't have the time in the Q&A session, but even the shirts they were wearing, their colors represented their characters. Like, if you notice, Jennifer had a yellow shirt, Jasmine had red, Melissa had orange. Those colors represent also, their characters, because there's a psychology in film about colors. You can't just make something look blue, or in this filter Instagram world, you can't just throw a filter just because it makes it look cool. Like, there needs to be a reason behind that. And even that, just highlighted the character. So for example, Melissa, the one with she had her hair is like purple mixed with like black and something else. She had an orange outfit on. In films, orange is represented with empathy, friendliness, being social. That's exactly what she was doing. She was being empathetic, you know, both towards Jennifer and Julie, because it's like, on one hand, she recognizes Julie's like good quality to go and, confess to her what she did. And at the same time, she also understands Jennifer's pain, but, you know, this is just part of life, whereas Jasmine is fiery. That's the red shirt represent that anger, that fiery, that outburst,
the rage.
So it's just like, because she also had an experience, she also understands her. I don't, I'm not gonna say the lines of people, but she mentioned to her like what happened. Melissa went like, well, I find it hard listening to you, bashing Julie when you did so and so. So it's like she also knows what Jennifer is feeling. That's why she's also talking to her the way she is. So both of these characters are talking to Jennifer, not so much just for the heck of it, but it's like they know exactly what she's going through. They experience that. So even when you make a film that, it may look simple or whatever, it has to be like very well crafted. So these things could be highlighted and the audience will get it.
Definitely. I would definitely recommend, like, I don't know, when you were going to high school, they had like health class, like in
Yeah,
and like in psychology, and when you're taking psychology in college, like they present to you issues like this. I think your movie, it should be like a great thing that show as proof that in life you have two decisions, and you have two types of people that are going to give you good ideas and give you bad ideas, and you'll be the ultimate person, and choose what fits for you.
exactly. Yeah, definitely. And again, I wanted to make it, I wanted to tell, especially like that scene, like, she was gonna hang out with the girls. Um, and I want also to, like, because that happens in real life. Okay. She had plans to meet them, but she wasn't expecting Julie to call her. So while she met them, she told them about the topic. And then when we cut to that scene, it was just, we're already seeing like what's going on there.
Hmm.
So I also wanted to make it tell it just in real, the way it would happen in real life. Again, we come back to that realism. It has to look real. And I'm gonna keep exploring these characters. Like, my plan with this, in this neighborhood or neighborverse, um I want to explore like more of these characters. You're gonna see more of these characters. In this story, you just saw Julie. In the next story, you might see more about Jasmine and her issues. You know what I mean? So it's just how life is, how I see it, how I experience it when I walk. Sometimes I'm walking, sometimes I'm sitting in front of my house, smoking in my pipe and whatever, and I would just hear someone arguing, walking on the phone, like arguing hard, and then my creative mind just starts working. Like, you see what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, something, like, I just saw that moment when she happens to pass by. I didn't see what happened previously. I don't know what happens next.
Yeah.
So, me, I don't know, like my mind, like I'll see something and I'll just see a scene right away. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally get it. It's that great saying that when people say like write what you know. You
Exactly.
don't need to, create this whole sci-fi, you know, world. Just write what you know and you'll be good at it.
Exactly. Yep.
Like, are you a fan by any chance? Like, are you trying to like do like I don't know if you know Kevin Smith, like his early projects, like each one of them coincides with one another. It tells a whole story. Is that kind of your style? What you're trying to do in the near future?
Well, with this one, yeah, with this particular neighborhood saga or anthology, however you want to call it, I want to continue to explore these characters. I am working like on other stories that have nothing to do with this, but I want to build on it, because again, in the neighborhood,
There's so many stories.
exactly, it's so many things, and sometimes we don't even see like the surface. We just see like what's in front of us, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why you are going to continue seeing more of Mike. You are going to like all the characters you saw in Julie's Confession, they will continue to make more appearances. I wouldn't call it though like a season because I'm not telling one long story in different episodes. You're just seeing like different angles of what goes on like in this neighborhood. And Mike, he's the one telling it.
Yeah, that's dope. So now you've written and directed your own projects, but you also have directed other projects.
Yeah, I have directed so far with Zay. Because again, when I moved out here to Philly, I didn't know anybody, so I'm still new,
Yeah.
even though I know, the process that's involved in making films. But so far I've just directed Why Do You Love Me? I don't know if you've seen that. That was when I first worked with Zay,
Hmm.
and I did that Stray Cats, and then I did Julie's Confession,
And so this far, right? Which one for you? Which one has been more easier, writing and directing your own projects, or now directing somebody else project and trying to envision what they envision when so their story could come to life.
It's to me, since you asked me that question, to me, it's always going to be much easier to tell my stories because I'm like, when I write, I'm already writing what I already see in my head. So that's already easier for me. So when I write something, and because I also do, I actually film the movie too. I do the cinematography, I do the editing, I make my own music. So because I'm able to do all these things, it's always just gonna be easier. Like for example, I don't know if you remember like the scene where Julie and Carlo, like, they were in that car or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I filmed that joint in less than 3 hours and it was edited that same day. But that's because I already knew what I wanted. So it's always gonna be easier for me to like, when it's my project. When it's somebody else's, I have to read it and I really have to like see it. Like once I begin to see it, then I can know what angles to use, what location that fits that scene. Like that's another thing. You can't just shoot any scene in any location. The scene has to match the setting. So when I read someone else's work, like, I really have to take my time and like visualize, and sometimes I will ask the person like, okay, what is it, what are you trying to say? Like, what are you trying to tell with this scene and so forth? So I can just understand like what they're saying, and then I can like, okay, I need to get it because I didn't write it. I wasn't there when it was when it
yeah,
was
yeah.
when it was starting, so I wasn't seeing it.
No, I totally get it. It's getting into that mindset of the other person and try to just understand what he's envisioning to bring it to life.
Right, right. Yeah, because that's the thing with directing. It's not as simple as it may look. If you see a movie and you like it, then the person did his or her job. If you see a movie and you were like, yeah, I didn't like this scene, like it felt weird, the acting felt funny, then the director didn't do his or her job. So it's a lot. Like it's not just directing, like, telling people what you want. It's a lot that's involved with it. And I'm like, I guess you would call me a perfectionist. I like to do things like as professional as I can.
Which,
That's just my
yeah,
approach.
which is, it's not bad. It's
No,
you have to be, you have to be able to, what you're saying and when you envision, bring it to life. And each detail, doesn't matter how small it is, matters.
right.
Then it's up to the actor if they can take criticism, if they can follow directions. It's that's how I know what type of caliber they are.
Exactly.
So it's like you said, everybody has to do their part.
Mm-hmm.
So when you,
Yes.
yeah, so when you started this journey, like at what age did you told yourself, hey, I this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Oh man, we got to go back to 2000, I believe 2004,
Way, way back.
way back. Because the thing is, I do a lot of things. It's just I do it, from my projects. Um, in 2004, I started to study acting because that's what I thought I wanted to do. Because that's what you see normally when you see a movie. You don't see the director, you don't see the cinematographer, you don't see the producer. All you see is the actor. So immediately you just be like, I want to try out acting. So I started studying acting. I started, studying theater. Then time went by, things happen, life happens, um, a lot of personal stuff. I never even went to college. That's something most people don't. I guess they find it weird, like how you know all these things and you never even went to college. I'm like, well, self-education. You know what I mean? Like I read a lot for myself. I didn't even finish high school. I dropped out of high school. So it's like a lot of things happen. I just put all that on standby. Um, I always liked music. I started producing music when I was like, I believe it was like 13 on FO Studio, when FO Studio was like on version 7 or 6. It's like in version 21 now. And I always used to do music, used to make like hip hop beats and stuff like that. And basically, as time went by, when I became an adult, I started living on my own. I started working, had my own money. You know, I bought a camera and I just started shooting, nature. Like I thought I wanted to be a photographer then. So I did a lot of photography. Never was in my mind to like, film or do something like, video work. So then I started learning how to edit. And once I learned a little bit about editing, that's another thing that took me like a good 4 years to get where I'm at. Then I began to develop this confidence that okay, now I can actually shoot something and make it look the way that I want. Because when I didn't know any of these things, um, I would see a movie and I used to think that's exactly how it used to come out the camera. And it's not. There's a lot that goes into it. So one thing basically led to another. The last thing I thought about becoming was a director. That was like not, I never did that ever cross my mind. And basically once I knew that I can like do all these things, write, compose music, um edit, do cinematography. Like I took these things seriously. Like I would do something and I would show people just to, like, hey, look at this video I did. And people would be like, yo, you did that? Like, that's actually kind of good. Like you really need to probably, take a little bit more serious. But to me, it was something I did really quick. So when you do something really quick, you kind of think like, they probably just being nice. But then more people kept having that reaction. And I remember I took a picture one day of a bug and I showed it to somebody and be like, nah, man, that ain't you. You took that joint off Google. Like, why you lying? I'm like, bro, I'm not lying. Like, why can't you think like someone like me can make an image look like that? Why do you think it only, you know what I mean? So then I began to realize like, maybe I can do this. You know what I mean? And once I felt confident enough to go out in the unknown. um when I did, for example, like that short film Why Do You Love Me, which was my first time directing people, and then I saw the final result, I'm like, whoa, I can actually do this. Like, okay, I can really, see something, film it, edit it, and put it on the screen. And then Julie's Confession was my other, I guess, trial, because this one was longer than Why Do You Love Me. The movie is 45 minutes. It was going to be longer than that, but I had to cut some parts that weren't like, didn't fit in the story no more. That's another thing I learned, my first time, like, in a big project. Once I was able to see the finished product, that's when I realized, like, oh snap, I can really do this. So I can't really like say when this happened, that's when I knew I wanted to do it. It's just like one thing kept leading
Yeah,
to
yeah.
another.
But it's an amazing it's an amazing, it's a beautiful journey, because all these things you just tried out, and little by little came, one step after another, and you're here now.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. Like after the premiere, after Julie Confession, now on Prime, go check it out, came out. Have you had the time to sit back and realize how far you've come?
Yes. I was just the other day, I think it was like last week. Because when you're in the process, you're still like in that level where you're like, I don't know how this is
You're like
gonna
in
come out.
disbelief.
Yeah, like, because the thing is, like, you're always, I spoke about this. Like, you have to be the first one to believe in yourself. Like, no one is obligated,
100%.
like, no one is
100%.
obligated to believe in you. And I understood that. Like, in my family, no one, like, people used to laugh at me. And then I realized, like, they're not obligated. You know what I mean? Like, I don't owe them anything. Like, I have to be the first one to believe in me. But you have to, like, overcome a lot of doubts, and you're your first worst enemy. So it's like, something in my head, like, or something inside me, like, you really think you want to do this? You really think, like, it's a lot? But then another part of me is like, yo, you can't stay still. Like, if you don't do this, you're not going to be still with yourself. You're not going to be like, you're not going to be okay with yourself. So even when I was editing Julie's Confession, once it was like filmed, like, okay, I filmed it, it's done, but it's still not fully like done. I still have to finish the editing. And even when I was editing, I'm like, yo, this is overwhelming. Like, does this look good enough? Like, does it sound good enough? You know what I mean? So, and I had to learn all these things because, I'm not rich. I can't be like affording, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's the
a
that
sound mixer.
you have to
So,
make it work with what you have. That's the
right,
number one rule of being an entrepreneur and starting
exactly.
everything. You have to make it work. Yeah.
Right. So, like, I own all my equipments. Like, I educated on what needs to be done, but still you're like, is it good enough? Then, when you finish your first draft and you see the whole film from beginning to end, you're like, okay, I'm still not convinced. I'm still convinced there's something missing. But then after it was all done, and then in the premiere, like, I was super nervous. Like, man, how are these people gonna take this movie? You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like, I was nervous. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not nervous to speak in front of people. Like, I've spoken in front of people before. Like, I can speak in front of a lot of people. That's no problem. But to see what, the reaction. And when I first heard, like, the first laugh of everybody and then the second laugh, I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I was not expecting them to laugh at that part. That wasn't made to laugh, but somehow they found it funny. Then when I submitted it to Amazon, and I also submitted it to other platforms, which I'm still waiting for them to respond. And then now seeing it on Amazon Prime, like, that it's out there, and it's already getting views, people are renting it. It's like, man, like, obviously it's I couldn't do it without the actors. Like, I couldn't do it without Zay introducing me to people. But it's like, I don't like to brag about my things because that's not my nature. But it's like, You know, I directed it, I wrote it, produced it, did the cinematography, the editing, the sound. Like I did the work of like a crew. Like there was an actual guy in there. His name is George Winchell, I think. He's an actual DP, director of photography, and he makes commercial. He makes, that's his living. And he went up to me and he said, "Listen, dude, I thought you had a crew. Like that was really good work. Like I actually thought you had a crew. Like I didn't think you were like a one-man person, you know." But again, that all came down to necessity. I'm not rich, but at the same time, there's so much information available to us. There's so much resources available to us. And we go back to what I said earlier. It's very easy to just purchase a camera, film something, do a little bit of, add a little filter, and then just put it out there. It's so easy, but people don't take the time to produce something, you know what I mean? Like worth people's time. Like I didn't want to put something out there that looks cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't want that. And I'm like, yo, what am I? So before also, like when I was learning editing, I was like, what am I doing wrong that my videos don't look like this? So I would reference, and the same thing with music. Like, why doesn't my music sound like this? And I would just read. You know what I mean? So it's things people don't see. You know, people just see you do this and be like, oh, damn, that's good. That guy's
Yeah,
talented.
self-education, you know, and
Yeah,
even though like you know, as the software, these equipment keep evolving, you always have to do your due diligence and educate
yes.
yourself because things technology keeps on evolving.
It does. And like if it would have been for technology, I wouldn't be able to do this. Like if it was 2006 for Julie's Confession to be done at that time, you know how much money would have to be like, because
Yeah.
cameras in 2006, especially digital cameras, like I don't even think Hollywood was shooting digital at the time. And the only digital cameras that were available to us were like these little like Sony camcorders that look
Yes,
like
facts.
crap,
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
know. But now cameras have gotten so good that some people have gotten lazy that they don't want to like for example, have you ever seen Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah. The
Okay.
the newer version that came out
Yeah,
with
the newer version.
Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
Yes.
So the cinematographer who shot that, his name is Roger Deakins. He's one of my favorite, if not my favorite. Um, he also shot Sicario, the first part with I don't know if you've seen that one with
The
Benicio.
Toro, the
Yeah,
Benicio Toro and Josh Thanos, the guy who played
yeah,
Thanos.
yeah, him. He shot those movies. He's British. He shoots on digital. Like he no longer shoots on film. And I like to listen more to like when I listen to a director or a cinematographer, I'm not interested in their craft because everybody has their own way. Like I have my own way of working, they have theirs. So there isn't like a right or wrong. What I'm interested is their philosophy of work. And the thing with Roger Deakins is he says like even though digital has a lot of latitude, meaning it gives you a lot of space. He still works like he used to back in the film days. He said, I haven't changed. I still get things done right in camera. I still like set all my lights the way they should. The only difference is I'm shooting digital. It's available. And I see in most filmmakers today, filmmakers, even a term I don't like even for myself, but you know, that's another topic. But I see that people don't take the time. Like they expect the camera to do the work for them. They go in this editing software and they just tweak a little bit of buttons and they think, oh, they got a hit. No, it's a lot that goes involved with that. You know what I mean? So I'm
Mhm.
glad that I took the time to study and read because that's what makes my work like efficient. Like I shot Julie's Confession, I filmed it, edited, and put it out there like in 2 months and like a
Mm.
week. You know what I mean? Like
And
people.
and there's some movies like there's these movies that go straight to DVDs,
Mhm.
like, and they don't look as near as good as Jules Confession, and they take more long to produce.
Well, again, you know, it all depends who's behind it. You know,
Hmm.
the thing with me is I'm able to direct, write, produce, do the filming, do the editing, you know, but I don't, that's me though. I don't expect everyone to, you know, be like that. But I noticed like, look, you only have one chance to do things good. And I'm like, I have to do this right. That's why I would like when I was editing, like I was stressed a little bit because I
Hmm.
know like this needs to look good. You know what I mean? And so, oh, great. There's a cat out here. I don't know if you hear it,
I
but
hear it. She wants to come on the podcast.
yeah. It's just, I'll give him food. But you want to take your time to do things good. It like, don't be lazy, because it will show. And the thing is, like, people just wanna like just put content out there and that's it. I'm not interested so much in that. Like, if I'm working on something else, and hold on, let me just close this window. My bad, because this cat is like, it's
No
throwing me
worries, I
off real
got you.
quick. All right. Yeah, it was throwing me off. My bad, ladies and gentlemen. But
You
hey,
good?
stray cats too might come soon. But I'm not like, when I'm working on my next project, like, I'm taking my time. Like, even when I'm gonna shoot in certain locations, I look like, okay, where am I gonna put the light at? Where am I gonna do this? Like, in the end, it shows if you did your work or not. That's why that person who came up to me in the premiere, again, his name is, I think, George Winchell, if I'm not mistaken. And he's legit. I saw his work. He came up to me, and this is someone who knows about, you know, cameras, lenses. And he told me, like, not to brag, but these were his own words. He was like, that's like the best work I've seen out of Philadelphia independent work. And I'm not trying to, like, I'm not bragging. This is something that he said. But again, because it shows that you did your work. You know what I mean? Like, if you do something sloppy, it's gonna show. So I made sure, like, the editing, the sound, even the music had to match. And again, that's another thing. Like, I'm able to compose my own music. So when I was like looking at the park scene and I did the music specifically for that, is because, like, I see, like, even the music has to match. You can't just throw like any music. See, that's the thing. There's a lot of thing that goes into making movies, and that's why it's hard. That's why it's hard, because some people think it's just, record, throw any sound on it, and that's it. And this Instagram society where everything is just quick. It's like people want everything quick. And the movie,
But that's the time we're living, man.
yeah,
They expect you to mass produce and such little time. That's why, like, you go like in Puerto Rico, right? In Puerto Rico, you go there, the days last long. You go to Florida, the same thing. But here, like, you go to New York, it's 24/7, 24/7. So many people with depression and obesity, they're not living life.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
not living as they want it to. So this social media era has definitely affected us in a way that we're questioning ourselves: is it for good or is it for bad?
right,
And
yeah.
just to say, you putting a reel on, like, and putting a filter and some music, it's not really editing. It's just
It's not. If you look at, for example, music, like in 2002, like even music videos, even though, cameras at that time weren't like 4K or none of that stuff.
yeah.
But even if you look like a music video, a R&B music video, like in 2002, you can tell like the difference in quality. And by quality, I mean, like, you can tell, like, man, it was so well crafted. It was so well
Yeah,
done.
man. Especially like when you had like an R&B video when you have them grabbing the air, man. I gotta bring that back. They don't have that.
Yeah, yeah,
They don't
yeah.
have that no more in the videos.
So like, yeah, and that basically applies even to everything, because it's a lot of resources now available, um to individuals, to people like us. You have your podcast. It's a lot of stuff, but some people don't, like, even though these things are available, like, you have to take the time to do things right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I approach making movies. Even though I have my equipments, even though I have um a lot of things available to me to make a movie happen, like, it still needs to be told in a very good way. It still needs to be, like, from beginning to end, every shot, every frame, every scene, both visually, acting wise, directing wise, cinematography wise, has to match with the story. Like, you don't want to lose the audience. And I have all of that in my mind. That's why I would stress myself a little bit, because I'm like, this needs to look a certain way, and I'm not getting it. And but that's good that I'm this way, because I don't just be like, just leave it like that. No, because then you apply that mentality to everything else in life. You have a
Mhm.
relationship, oh, it's whatever, and then you wonder why you're single, because you suck at relationships. So
Facts.
it's like everything you do transfer to other things in life.
Facts. Did you filming this film? Did you have to? Was there a lot of like retakes that like you find? We gotta reshoot this. We gotta reshoot that.
No,
Or
actually, it
was
was all
there
like
a smooth
everything.
transition?
Yeah, because I knew what I wanted to get. Again, that's the thing with directing, and like that's the benefit I have, since I'm the director, the cinematographer, the editor, like, and I own this film, so I have a lot of control.
Mm.
Like no one has to tell me what I can and can't do. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But even though I have all this control and everything, I know what I want. Like I'm not gonna waste the actor's time. Like Jacides, for example, the one who plays Julie, she lives in Reading, and she would have to
Mm.
drive here to Philly. So that's an hour and 30-minute drive.
It's commitment.
Um, yeah. And Julie Peralta, she lives in Jersey. I think she's like 45 minutes away. But still, they have to drive. You know what I mean? So I don't want to waste people's time. So I always knew how I wanted the scene to look, what I want, like how I wanted the actors to act. And thank God, they all trusted my direction. They all, like listened to what I said. And it was just smooth. It was just like, for example, the scene with me and Jasidi, the mic scene, we literally did only 2 takes. And that's because the alley was so tight, and we were using natural light. I had to use 2 cameras simultaneously to get like different angles. But I couldn't put like both cameras, like one camera recording me and then at her at the same time. I had to put 2 cameras facing her, and then we would have to reshoot the whole entire scene from my side from beginning to end. And we only did that like 2 times. So basically, we did her side one time and we did my side one time, and that was it.
Nice.
But I always knew what I wanted. Like sometimes I would tell her, like, okay, you got to say that line a little bit more aggressive. You need to sound a little bit mean. You're not sounding mean, and so forth. And she trusted me. You know, I didn't have no trouble with like, what they call like prima donna divas, none of that
Yeah,
stuff. I, I
yeah.
don't, I don't, I don't
Well,
tolerate it.
as you get bigger, because your talent is gonna be soon noticeable, right? So as you get bigger, you're gonna have to deal with all these prima donna from the union. I don't take no shit types of actors. So
Well, I'm
it's
like, look, I consider myself very fun to work with. I'm not, I don't consider myself mean, but when I'm working, I'm serious.
Mm.
And I expect you to bring, that seriousness. And if I ever have to put you to the side, that's one thing. But if I have to like correct you in person, you really have to like, push me, So that's one thing like I let people know, if you're gonna work with me, you gotta show up. And thank God, the people that I work with, they showed up on time, prepared, they knew what they were gonna do. And people like this, you want to continue working with them. Now, if I ever work with somebody that they don't show up on time, I'm sorry, you're just out. Like I heard you say that, I think with the episode you did with Zay, where you said you had hired some people and they took like 8 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you gave them the opportunity, and it's like, yo, that's unacceptable.
Yeah,
To me,
facts.
you know what I mean? That's another thing, like why I do like my own cinematography, editing, sound. I own all my equipment. I don't got time to be waiting on people that's like procrastinating. Like you're not busy. If you're not busy, or if you don't have a lot going on, like why are you taking like all this time like to edit or to do? Like why don't you just, like, what's taking you so long? You know what I mean? That's me. That's my way of working. That's just me though.
Hmm.
But all I'm saying is, like, if you want to do movies and you
Hmm.
want to call yourself I don't know, an actor or director, but you don't have a sense of urgency, I don't think you're in the right industry. Or,
No, absolutely, 100%, 100%. I agree. And that situation itself, like you heard in the episode, because like I've always wanted to do film and write and all that. It's like I always say, like it's finding the right people. But then once you like me, I'm a person like you. I'll go out and learn myself, and then I show like example the podcast. I'll slowly start creating it myself, and once I do it myself, I don't need you no more.
Yeah.
And when they usually when every time things are kicking off and you're getting some buzz or you're putting content out, everybody wants to work with you. But when you needed them, it's like pulling teeth. And
Yeah.
everybody goes through shit in life, but how bad do you want it?
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said, like, it's a procrastinating society. Like everyone, like I really believe like social media has its good things,
Mm-hmm.
like you discover people that have like same interests as you who want to work.
Yes.
I wouldn't have met Zay through that. I wouldn't have met you. So
Yes.
there are
Yes.
some, good things, but more than good, um, we as people have let it ruin us because
Well,
it's
wasn't
like,
it like 2 days ago everything crashed?
yeah, like it was
Like,
like 6 hours down and people were going crazy.
dude,
And I'm like,
I had no idea it went down. The only reason I knew something was wrong is because like me and my wife, I use WhatsApp. I don't use regular text no more.
okay, no,
Right.
that's
So
right.
that's where we send message. So I my son is autistic. So I said I every Monday, Tuesday, I'm taking him to therapy. So
Okay.
I'm texting her, I'm always updating the progress and the videos. And I see the video and the message I said it's like an hour long. It's like, what's going on? But they pichong and I come home and I forget. And then later on I see everybody posting everything was down.
Yeah, because it's sad. Like that showed like Mark Zuckerberg controls most people's lives more than they do themselves. And that's
Absolutely.
sad, So because we live like in this society, and it's good if you have self-control. Again, self-control is a key here.
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't have self-control, and they, especially like women, like just to give you an example, like women are used to instant gratification. They'll post a picture on social media, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, showing their ass off, and a bunch of beta males just start commenting them, hit them likes, oh, you look so sexy. That's instant gratification. They like that. They get addicted. That's just like any other drug.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of making movies, movies don't happen like that. You don't do a movie in a day and then just post it the next day. It takes time. So people are getting so used to this instant gratification
Yeah, they want it like
that they
that.
don't, right, that they no longer see, like, listen, there are things in life, even like raising a child, that doesn't happen from night to day. That takes time to build. Things take, like, there are things that take time to build, and you cannot expect it for it to be done in a day, in a week, in a month, even in a year. But the most important thing is that you develop the habit, that you have patience, that you know how to build something up. You know what I mean? Like I just, okay, Julie's confession. But for me to do that film, like, it took years of me learning something. I was like in the background learning something while I was having a full-time job. Like I was doing things, I was educating myself, things people don't see.
You're practicing your craft.
Right now, you just see the result, but it's not like I just, the other day I decided, hey, I want to make movies because I'm bored, and all of a sudden I'm like, this creative. No,
Yeah, but that's
it's
something like
years.
it's something that like you said just now, instant gratification. They want that. They
Yeah.
want to make 100,000 in a day. They want to drive in a fucking Bugatti or Lamborghini. That's that vibe. How
Mm.
young people say, because once you're dirty, they consider you old, right? So that's that vibe they're giving. They don't, like example the podcast once again. How many people I've tried to get on here before I started to get down and listen what I'm trying to do. This all
Mhm.
started for me just I just want like the pandemic hit and I just wanted to help people talk about their business and their story. Where there's a bodega, where there's a fucking a pincho car or a hot dog car. That's all it was about.
Right,
Come
and that's
here,
what's up.
talk about whatever, let's try to get you out there, right? That has become something more. I'm grateful, but it was organic. you know?
Right, right.
People don't want that. People, my daughter, I have my stepdaughter, but she's my daughter. She's 22 years old, right? I'm so proud of her because she thought life was like that, right? She thought
Mm,
that she was gonna be young and pretty forever. Once you get older, right? She thought everything's gonna be catered to her, and that's gonna be life. Now she has to work at 9 to 5. She had to buy herself a car. She's doing all these awesome things. So it took her time to see that everything you want in life that matters is not going to happen overnight. You have to work slowly towards it. Small
yeah,
goals could lead you a drastic way to an amazing outcome to something, right?
yeah,
And here now it's not like that, and that's something like I don't know if it's because like whether like it's they call it immigrant mentality, right? So you grew up in some other place, right, with different values and things that are important. You come here and you work your ass off, right? People here don't see everything that is happening. It's like sensitive or disadvantage, but you're not using your resources. So every time somebody else or some other country comes here, take advantage. In a year or two, they have their own business.
mm-hmm,
They're profiting like crazy, and
yeah,
you're here crying that they're taking those resources away from you, but you're not capitalizing on that.
yeah. I've seen that.
You know, so it's just picking back what you said.
No, definitely. I seen that a lot. That's why, like, if you notice, like most of the like my dad, for example, when he came from the Dominican Republic in the 80s, he
Que lo
came up,
que.
yeah,
My
he
dad,
came,
my dad came from Dominican Republic, and he that's a kingpin in himself. Let's just move on from that. I was gonna say some shit, but I'm not gonna say no shit.
yo, but the point is, like, they came with the mentality that they wanted to strive. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
yes.
Whereas, like, the people who are born and raised here, whether you're Caucasian or Hispanic, like I know people who are Hispanic who are born and raised here, and they live just like that. Like they don't take advantage of the resources because I guess they have it easy. They have like an easy upbringing, so they just get
Hmm.
used to the
Yeah.
abundance. But like when you come from like Dominican Republic or other countries, whatever, and you don't have all of that, but you're hungry. When you come out here, it's like, man, this is like a buffet of opportunities. You know what I mean? So it's like same thing with like, with movie making, podcast, whatever. It's a lot of resources, man, like that weren't there before. But at the end of the day, it's about you as a person, as a creative person. Like, what are you doing that's gonna set you apart from everybody else? You know what I mean? Because I use my cameras, I use my lenses, I use my lights. Anybody can buy them. They've
Hmm.
become affordable. I don't have cheap gear because I want good quality, but like you can get your hands on very good equipment, but it's how good you are.
Hmm.
The camera's not gonna, like, it's like I showed the film to um my brother's brother, because they're brothers by father, but me and my brother were brothers by mother. And he saw the movie, and the first thing he said was like in Spanish, it was like, mierda, man, esa cámara graba heavísimo. But deep inside, I'm not gonna be like, bro, it's not the camera, because they
Yeah.
don't know about this.
Some arguments you're not gonna go put yourself through.
Right, but you know, even though he may not understand it's not the camera, but he's acknowledging that what he is seeing
It's
is
dope.
damn good work. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes.
So it's just like, man, look, you don't want to be lazy. And Zay always tell me, like, you never know who's watching. And it's true.
Yes,
You
yeah.
never know who's watching, but you better make sure that what they're watching is something worthwhile. It's not something that people like. I'm very well aware, like the audience is very unforgiving. Okay.
Yes.
That's just the nature of it. And it's okay. They're, whether like they're paying to see your movie,
But you
you
know
know.
what? I gotta say, and I may get some backlash, but yet again, I really don't give a fuck. Like the audience nowadays are fucking lazy.
Oh
Everything
yeah,
is
that too.
CGI. Everything is CGI.
That
Like
too.
there was this great argument with Martin Scorsese and Robert Downey Jr. I think that the Marvel, all these comic book is not cinema.
It's not.
and he broke it down and why, and he's not wrong. I mean, I'm not saying these not amazing movies, because they are,
No, they're great. Like they're great family movies and everything.
but it's not cinema.
And if you look at what Scorsese was good in, that is basically what the thing I learned. Cinema is supposed to portray real life. You
Yes,
know what I mean? Like the Hulk doesn't exist in real life. Batman doesn't exist in real life. Superman doesn't exist. Even though they're good movies and they're hits and they're blockbusters, the producers make a lot of money,
they're
but
fictional characters.
right, you may like it, but you can't really go home and be like, yo, I identify myself with Batman. You know what I mean? Like, no, there's no detective in the world that flies with a cape looking like a bat. That doesn't happen. Like the
They got
real
money like that.
detectives, yeah, right. So that's what Scorsese was saying. He wasn't hating on them. You know what I
No,
mean?
no.
Like Scorsese is Martin Scorsese. Like that
Yeah,
guy has a name, he's respected. So
yeah.
he's not hating.
But
Like
then
I've heard
again,
some people say.
you live in a society that you can't say shit. You can't express your value opinion, because everybody's feelings matter. And
uh,
sometimes it's not about feelings. It's about what's the factual information that's in front of you.
Exactly.
You
Like
know,
I don't I like, again, we go back to the social media. Like I'm convinced that social media has played a big role in making people so damn sensitive. Like
yeah, man.
I'm
I
convinced, because I remember like when in 2002, like when all we had was just like PlayStation 2s, and the TVs were still square. Like, bro, we used to joke about stuff that you can't even joke about now. And we all
mhm.
knew it was jokes, man. Like it wasn't serious. It was just jokes. It was just locker room talk, whatever. Now, like it's just crazy, like what, how, and then, like, not to offend anybody, but like, look, we're men. Like you and I, like we're men, right? That's who we
Yes,
are. Like we're men. Like men are supposed to be men. We're supposed to be fucking tough. We're not supposed to be pussies. Women don't like that.
facts.
Children don't like that. Like a children does not feel safe around a pussy man. They don't.
That
They
is
like a
facts.
man that's tough, masculine. But now, if you're masculine, if you're tough, if you're rugged, oh, you're somehow you're labeled as toxic masculinity. Like what the
You're
like? Come
sexist.
on,
You're
yeah, like
sexist.
no,
Yeah,
man, like that's just BS. No, it's just but I really don't care about that. It is what it is, because at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. You know what I
facts.
mean?
Yes.
And it's like, look at life, for example. Life life doesn't please anybody. Life is hard. Like when you play a video game, like I was playing Doom the other day, of Doom Eternal, and they have like different modes, like easy, normal,
Like
hard,
back in the day.
very hard. Right. Life is always on very hard. Life is never on easy, normal. Life is always on very hard mode. And life is just raw. So it's like look, man, like the things they teach you in school, they're not really going to prepare you for the real world. Like in the real world, you're going to face rejection. Like people are not going to believe what you believe in. Like you have to be ready for all this stuff. Like I have beliefs that I'm sure some people will disagree with, and that's okay. I don't expect them to agree with me, but at the same time, I'm not going to kill you, or I'm not gonna point a gun at you because we don't believe the same thing, And then as the person who makes movie, like my job is just to portray in the big screen like things that happen in the real world. And sometimes those things may not be easy to watch, but you have to watch them because this stuff happens. You know what I mean? So it's like it's crazy. Like it's the times we live in are like interesting. It's so much. It's like a big I don't know if you know what a sancocho is.
Yeah. Oh man. You know
It's
how
a
long?
sancocho is
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
mixture of a lot of stuff, and that's just basically what's like where we're at. It's like a mixture of a whole bunch of stuff, man. It's like but it's crazy though.
Man.
But
Today's like generation, we are living like everything's a filter. Everything's a
it
filter.
is.
Like I don't know if you ever remember one time when Paris got under attack, and CNN decided to have Charlie Sheen on and make his announcement he had AIDS more
Yeah.
important than a country getting bombed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a filter. You know, it's up to you to see what you want to see.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of it, you have to accept one. You're gonna, accept, the world for it is, or you're gonna continue living with this fucking filter, that constantly being updated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Look, that's why I said like you just have to be real and just look, man. I could talk a lot of because it's like the conversation is getting interesting, and but that's why I'm a fan of like ancient literature, old movies, like it was just there was so much richness and talent and the things that were before us. You know what I mean? So it's like nowadays is everything is just like I don't know, man. People are so like,
But that's right there what you mentioned. That's the cheat code. Time always repeats itself.
mm-hmm,
There's no such things as me able to see the fucking future. Time always repeats itself, just in different style. Not too long ago, the '90s retro clothes and all that shit was coming out. Time
mm,
always repeats itself. So you look at time, you learn through people's mistakes and failures to help you progress in what you need to do. But you also could go back and learn. Like
mm-hmm,
when I need to, I'm a very I'm a very passionate person, right? Let's just leave it at that. So I don't go to listen to today's hip hop and to try to get my emotions out. It's not, you know, some songs in the past may help me, but now, go listen to like fucking Johnny Cash, you know, that song cut I'm gonna cut you down, which is has everything that I need to fuel me, right?
mm-hmm.
Or I'll listen to fucking that song "Beautiful," right? Example, but help me to flow with my emotions and understand myself better, to portray myself in a better way to my wife and my son.
Right.
So the past has a lot of wise things that you can learn as a person that can help you flow within the future.
Of
Sometimes what
course.
we have in the present is just traffic of different types of shit. Like music is not music anymore. And so who's good because there's so much.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I,
definitely,
I
man.
totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, man. That's why like one of the persons asked me on the Q&A, like there was a shot in the park scene. There was,
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and they asked me like, was there a meaning to that? And I'm like, of course, there's the meaning to that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't just put anything on the movie just because it looks good. Like, again, everything has to match. And I told them, like, in ancient literature, like, people used to call nature as witness whenever something was going to happen. And me knowing that, you know what I mean? And then matched also the scene, since it was just them two confessing, them two in the park while Julie was confessing. So, I wanted to show like nature as a witness. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't just trying to be like fancy or whatever. And we go back again to today's society. Like, people want to be fancy, whether it's a music video or like a short film or a feature. Like, they just want to, I don't know, like they just like want to make things like you say, like the talent is just not there like it used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like back then, it's like I heard like back then, for example, like I remember when I was growing up and I was in elementary, there was no such thing as everyone's a winner. Like
Yes.
there was a first place, second place, and third place.
And your
That's
fourth
it.
was your ass out. You lost.
Yeah. So it made people like push themselves harder. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I ain't even get third place. I'm gonna go train harder. You know what I mean? So, and like competition has a good side of it. It's supposed like competition, like one, it makes you see like what you're capable of. Like, it shows you like competition is self-revelating. Like, it shows you like if you can work under pressure or not. Maybe you shouldn't be involved in this. Maybe you should try something else.
Dude,
But then again,
I have a
yeah, you know
perfect
what I
I
mean?
have
Like,
a perfect example that happened to me last night regarding that.
Yeah,
Like,
like like competition is good, man. But
yeah,
now everybody's a winner. Everybody gets a freaking award. Like, no, man, you're not like
I remember growing up, they used to do like on it was like November, Thanksgiving. They used to like in school. They used to like the the turkey race, right? Like I heard
right,
that pavo.
yeah.
So like the first couple of years when I started doing it was like third place. Yeah, I remember I used to run my ass off. Like I was like this, and every year I would get closer and closer. And you know, I came when I was a kid, I moved back over here. Then I moved back. Then I learned like the first 10 people get free bowls, free turkeys. What the fuck?
Yeah,
And I'm
and
here like I'm here I'm here training and shit for to win.
yeah, and then and there's a that applies to everything in life because it's like then when these kids grow up and they realize like life isn't as easy, like no, you're not everyone is a winner. Like you find out the hard way, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like you realize like they feel like they were cheated or somehow they were like not like they were lied to, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like competition, like it's supposed to like make you go harder, make you go forward, make you like not give up.
Yeah.
And with that comes confident. You develop confident. Again, we go back to what I said earlier. Like we're men. Like men, we're supposed to behave like such. We're supposed to and like como you know how they say in Spanish, like métele el pecho al asunto. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you're
Lead with your
supposed to
chest.
like, yeah, you're supposed to be the first one in the battlefield. You're not supposed to be hiding or let me wait till that guy. No, man, like that's how men are like that's how we were built. And now like that like manhood is like being like degraded. I don't know.
Oh no, we're bad guys.
You know what
We're
I mean? So it's
yeah.
like it's crazy. You know what I mean? And then again, we talked about history earlier. Like back then, like in war, like you had to be a man to go to war because war in ancient history, like even the time of the Romans, ancient Israel, ancient Egypt, it wasn't no guns, bro. It was machete with machete and a
Yeah.
shield. Like you had to be a man. That's
Yeah.
why that's why a man back then had like 4 or 5 wives, because I'm not trying to get into like no manosphere conversation or anything, but that's why men back in the days used to have like 5 wives, and them wives was okay with it because they knew they had a damn man. They ain't have a pussy. They
Yeah.
had a man, and they were willing to be with this man. Like, yeah, even though he got, we all live in the same house, polygamy, but that's because they realized, like, apart from the fact that this guy's a provider, this guy's a warrior, man. Like we feel safe around this guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's just today, like I don't know, everything today is just like it's just like crumbling. Like
It's
society
all
is just
it's all about feelings and
yeah,
you
man.
know like
It's all like feelings. Feel like,
I mean
bro,
don't get me wrong. As a man, we should know he understand ourselves, understands our feelings. Because at the
right.
end, then like we are hold. I tell everybody this. I can't stress it enough. As men, we are hold to a different standard. There's no fucking up. There's no mistakes. There's no I'll try tomorrow. You get one shot. That one shot, you're just being married, right? Just speaking out of experience. Just one mistake, that shit could last you fucking 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be easy something as fucking throwing the garbage out and you missed it that one night. You know, and that's an example, but they're never gonna forget it.
Right.
We have to be in control with our emotions to be able to provide our best image that we can. And it's not being fake; it's being realistic.
No, definitely. I definitely agree with you on that as well. It's a lot of things that play um in what we're talking about. But it's just like, man, look, like life, like I'm 30 right now, right? I'm gonna be 31 in November 29, and I'm just sometimes I'll be like, damn, like,
Damn, bro, you're a baby.
yeah, I may
You
look
got
old, and
no. You look. Like, I'm 32. Shit, look younger than me.
it's just that I read a lot and I educate myself a lot. I love learning. I've never come to the conclusion that I know it all because I'm not a no. I don't know it all, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. But I was just like sometimes I'd be thinking like, damn. I remember when I used to watch SpongeBob, when I used to watch Bugs Bunny, like where did all those years go? You know what I mean? Like it's just like we're still young. I'm not 30 is not old, bro. You
Yeah.
know, but all I'm saying is like, yo, like I remember like when I used to play Pokemon cards and I was just a little kid. Now it's like, you know, like you see life for what it is. Like you really have to face it, man. You got to play offense, not defense. You got to be offensive in life, not offending people. No, you got to like you got the way you like
You have to be a
every
go-getter. You gotta go. You
right,
gotta keep moving,
right.
keep pushing forward, progressing. You gotta keep doing that.
Always like every game, no matter what the sport, whether it be basketball, baseball, the team that always wins is the team that plays the most offensive. It's not the
Dude,
team that plays the best defense. It's
I and not to cut you off, but like to give you a perfect example, like
no, no, no. Go ahead, go ahead.
I do jujitsu, right?
Okay.
Last night I was in the class and they got me in some arm bar, potentially break my arm. I felt it. I screamed. I was like, fuck. I knew what it was. And I fought out of that. Right.
Mm.
Uh I'm not gonna say who, but after that I got in a conversation with somebody and said that it was my ego that didn't let me tap out. And my response is, respectfully, my response was like, fuck that. I'm fighting to the end.
Mm-hmm.
There's no tapping out. Like I know I've pushed myself so far in life. I know what I'm capable of. Yeah,
Right.
that he got me good. Yeah, that was right there. Yeah, but I fucking got out of it, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will see you and have that mentality push forward with ego, and it's not. It's like you're
No,
saying right now, it's fucking pushing forward. You have to push forward. Nobody's gonna do it for you.
of course not. You
You
know
know,
what I
like
mean?
like you writing that script, nobody's gonna do it for you. You educating yourself, nobody's gonna do it for you. You filming and doing what we done so far, nobody's gonna do it for you.
Exactly. And again, you know, I understand these things and I'm okay with that. And I don't expect like, you know, and this goes back again to the beginning of the podcast. Like you have to be the first one to believe in yourself. No one is obligated to believe in you, to believe in me. But again, like there are so many resources today. Like you don't have to wait for handouts. Like check this out, right? Like when I decided to go back, like I, you know, you spoke about marriage. Like I was married 5 years. Um,
Mm,
Unfortunately, you know, I divorced, but I have a very great relationship
I feel you, brother.
with my ex-wife. You know, we have like we look like brothers. Like, you know, we don't hate each other. Like, you know, I go like sometimes you tell me to go over, you know, we just talk, nothing happens. You know, it's just, you know, things just didn't, you know, go out the way they were. But after my marriage was over and everything, and I saw myself alone, and you know, like you had to recover and everything, I decided to like, you know, I always wanted to act. I always wanted to be involved in making movies. So let me, you know, now that I have more time and let me keep my mind busy, let me, you know, reopen this again. And I went to this casting website. I'm not gonna say what because I'm not trying to promote it, you know, but it was always like actor needed, actor needed. Now I know how to act, you know, I studied it. That was the first thing I studied, acting. And I would like apply because my mentality was like, um let me at least do something so I could have like a resume, you know, that I've done, you know, this, and that. So when I start doing my own things, I may sound, I'll look legit. I don't know how many applications or how many gigs like I had applied for. Not one responded back to me. And then I understood it. Like, why do you need to go? Like, why do I gotta be in line for that?
Yes.
When I could, like, I own my equipment, and that's what I did. And then you know what I mean? Like, I just started like, okay, I'm gonna do things myself, but I'm gonna do it right. But since I didn't know anybody, like, I went on Facebook, went up like filmmakers group, and one thing led to another. Then I met Zay, and then Zay introduced me to some of the people he knows, and so forth. And then it's like, okay, now people are interested in working with me. You know, I don't, and again, I'm not bragging. I'm not trying, that's not my nature. I hate that. Zay knows that about me. I don't like the like, I don't like titles, even though I can do like what I can do, but I don't like I'm not full of myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But like now, it's people that really like are interested in working with me,
And the right people,
right?
because
Because they
yeah,
saw, and then it's like, I remember when I needed like for one character, like um I needed a person for a character, which never I had to kill that character off, due to timing and everything. But I remember I had told Zay, like, if he could write a casting call on that Facebook group, and to see if they're interested or whatever, because I need someone and they need to look a specific way. Yo, it's crazy, bro. Like, just for that one role, like, so many people sent their resume, their everything. And then I remember, like, damn, I remember when I was the one applying for a role, and now I'm the one handing out. Now people are applying to be in my stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah,
crazy. Like,
yeah, yeah,
that's what, like, that's the days we live in. Like, you don't need to be in line anymore, but you have to be good at what you're doing.
yeah,
You can't, people are not gonna want to work with someone who, it's a lot, man. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, it's well, we live in a world, right? So just going back to reiterate what you were saying before, like when we were growing up, we had to win, we had to work for that, right? Now it's everybody's a winner, right? But then once you come of age, you start realizing that you have people that can make decisions if whether you're good or not good, whether if you can or you can't. So
Mhm.
meaning, they got making decisions that you can't make. So like I tell people all the time, instead of leaving my faith in one person's hand, let me create my own faith. And that's what
Mhm.
you did to your what you did right now. You were that person uh applying and never getting anything. Now you're that person who bet on yourself, and now you're creating this, and now people, something, unfortunate, right? People are now in the position you once were,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, and it's going after it, being
Right.
persistent and saying fuck it, I'm gonna bet on myself.
Yeah. And again, that takes guts, man. That's you really like you don't know what's gonna happen. But my thing is like I'd rather like take a step, and if it didn't work, at least I did it. I'm not gonna sit back like, oh man, I would like I'm 80 years old, man. I wish I had done this. No. I like listen, bro. Like I was about to pull the plug on Julie's confession 2 times. Like I was about to quit because like,
It gets
because
difficult.
yeah,
It gets
and
difficult.
I never done this. Like being at my first official film that I'm doing it, I'm directing it, producing it, writing it, editing it, and everything. And again, I wasn't taught this in school. Like you're not taught in school how to be an entrepreneur, how to run your own business, how to run your own thing. You have to learn that like you have to learn that on yourself, and you have to, and like you really have to manage, you got to know how to control like your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, bro, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna take the shot. Like whatever happens. I'm gonna go for it. You know what I mean? And thank God, like the risk reward factor. Like the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like now I'm like, I remember when I used to be married. You know what I mean? And like my ex-wife and I, we used to watch movies on Amazon. Now I have one on Amazon. You know what I mean? I was like, that never crossed my mind. Never. You know what I mean?
Facts,
Like
yeah.
we could look, we in 2021, like 2016, I would never still like imagine that I could have a movie playing on Amazon. And being Amazon, the platform that it is, like you don't know what producer can be watching your stuff. You don't know what studio head can maybe be watching your stuff, and they be like, and they might want to do some background information, and oh, this guy did this, oh, he wrote it, he directed it, or he did this, and it's a really good thing, and so forth. So it's like the definition of insanity, and like one definition of insanity is like doing the same thing over and over and expecting different result. You know, don't expect something different if you're not doing anything different. Like Julie's confession would have never happened if I didn't get out my ass, if I didn't go out there, if I didn't throw myself in the unknown. I didn't know who I was gonna meet. I know who Zay was at first. I know then, who Jacidi was, the actress that played Julie. I know who Julie Peralta. Like, I know none of these people, but if I stay home, ain't none of this gonna happen. You know what I
Facts.
mean? You gotta like you said, like, bro, to get something, you have to work for it. That will never change, no matter how many Instagrams and more social media come out. That will always be a part of life that you cannot hack. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. That's what I promote every fucking day of my life. You gotta put some work. Gotta put that work in,
Yeah,
no
that's
matter
why I was
what you do.
that's why I was laughing when I saw that interview with you and Zach. You was like that you told them people, and it was like 8 months. And when you said that, I'm like, yo, that's unacceptable. Like,
I'm gonna give you a quick backstory. So I had this idea, right, that I've had for like since 2015, right?
mm,
Like I've told you, like I've always tried to write. I have fucking box full of notebooks of writing my crazy shit. But these are three people that I've always known that had potential to be something, right? And they still do, and they always wanted to be writers. So I finally I'm at a place that I have my own company, my own LLC, whatever. I'm legitimate, right? And when I first started this Zoom thing, there's Zoom. That's what we do the podcast. I
right,
invited him one day for a meeting, and I basically told him, listen, this is. I'm not like you guys. I'm not depending on somebody else's paycheck. This is not a 9 to 5 for me. This is actual life. This is what I. This is my bread and butter now. I'm giving you the opportunity to join me and create this script um, for these ideas. Have it doesn't have to be good, doesn't have to be great, but it has to get done
exactly.
because you don't like. My mentality is always this: if until you don't do something, you will never know what is perfection. If you live by other people's eyes and others people creation, you will never do anything
You won't.
because you're setting that perfection because that theirs, that not yours. So I told him, let's write this script, right? That'll be all of our baby, right? So I broke it down. I was like, 3 months. They give 2 months to develop character, 3 months to write a hard draft, and the rest remainder will decide if how many rough drafts. But from this date, which is total 8 months, it has to be done. Has to be
Right.
done. I'm giving you more than time. I'm working with your schedule. It's only like fucking one day in a week, which is on a Sunday for 1 hour of their time to write and right. So I recorded everything. I noticed I found myself getting frustrated and like I'm always taking an initiative and they're always asking for directions. Yeah, I will ask questions. What do you think? Do you think we should do this? What's your idea? What I'm picking their brain.
Right.
Trying to, I'm not trying to make it about me. I'm trying to make it about us. They never saw it as that, in my opinion. Uh, so I was like, all right, this is taking too long. 4 months have passed. We haven't wrote anything down. The only thing we wrote down was like a Google document with all the bullet points we have agreed upon. That's it. And every other day I was getting messages. Oh, I can't make it. I had a family thing I gotta go to. Oh, I'm on vacation. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. And I was talking to my wife about something and it stumbled upon me. Right. I was like, I can only focus on things and be impatient for things I'm actually doing. Right. I can't be impatient and get frustrated for things I'm not doing. And this
Right.
was one of those things that I wasn't not doing. I have a time frame. You know, I gave you the opportunity. I gave you an idea. I gave you the decision. I gave you everything. Like if we would have wrote it down, I think I would have wrote it down myself and just gave them the credit because I wanted them to win. This was not my project.
Right.
It was my idea. It was not my project. I got my clothing line. I got real estate with my wife. I got my t-shirt printing. I got the podcast. I got so many other things that are my priority. I did this. I wanted to create a team. Finally,
Right. Right.
it was our vision. I wanted them to be a part of something more than they can ever imagine, but it wasn't like that. So I said, "Fuck it," like I always do. That's you. If you get to know me, my come to Jesus moment is when I say "fuck it" on anything, right? So I said, "Fuck it." we're done.
Mm.
We're done. But I still, the only thing I haven't done is voided out the contracts. But the way I wrote the contract and my lawyer wrote the contract, I don't even have to do anything because they failed on each and every terms and conditions they had to follow through the contract. They failed automatically. Um, and then after I said, done, I get called that they want to do this, they want to do that. Oh, but I had other projects, I had ideas, they want to do that. And I've learned to just listen. It's like and leave it up to them. When you're ready, you let me know. When you're ready, when you let me know. Right? When you're ready, you let me know. Instead of, yeah, let's do this. When you're ready, you let me know. Weeks have passed and we're recording this podcast and no response at all.
And
They'll probably see this and then hit me up.
But it's crazy though. Like no one is that busy. Like I hear you say this right now, and I'm like, yo, like even a month, bro. Like that's a long. That's like 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and 30 days in a month, and you don't have like no time. Like, bro, no one is that busy.
You don't want it that bad.
You don't.
You don't want it that bad.
That's why I'm like. That's what, like, me hearing you say all that. I'm like, yo, I would have been so impatient because I'm like, bro, even 2 months, 3 months, that's a long time. You know what I mean? And then it's like, if you're like you said, you were like, you wanted to build a team, like you work even faster with a team. When there's someone like for example, me, like, I do the things I do because I can, and I saw the necessity to do these things, but when you're like working in a team, like you advance quicker because like you don't have to bring all the load together. So it's like, damn, like I don't get people sometimes. And it's like I don't know, like every time I like you got to give people sometimes the benefit of the doubt because you really don't know. But it's like every time something came up, like every time I hear somebody say something came up, that's just like you're just trying to say no, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody has stuff going on in their life, but people take the time, you know what I mean, to do what, to go out there. Like you got your family, you had, like all the stuff that you mentioned, but yet you were still willing, you know what I mean, to do something as a team, to like meet up.
With that, I blame myself. I always blame myself. You know why? Because me as a person, I can't be difficult, but I'm only difficult and become like irritated to people who are not willing to take a challenge. You get what I'm saying? I challenge you. I challenge anybody because that's about life. I've been stuck in so much shitty holes in my life that I got to a certain point in my life and said, "Fuck this! This is my life. I'm gonna move my way." So I challenge people. I'm not challenging you because I'm trying to bully you or belittle. No, I'm challenging. I want you to give me your best because I'm giving you my best. And some people can't take that. And I throughout the years, blessing having my wife and my son have to learn that acceptance that I'm wrong because not I expect everybody to be like me. Not everybody's like me.
They're not.
I took me 2 hours and 30 minutes in traffic to go see your movie. That's commitment. I wanted to be there. It's not because I was, that, and it was not because we were getting this interview. Because this is
I totally get you.
I just want to say for the listeners and who was watching it, because this just happened like a week ago, right? I was committed there because I wanted that experience. I've never been in a premiere. I've never actually met somebody that was passionate enough to write and direct their own project. That's the people I want to be around of. I was committed to be there and show support. And nothing in return, right? That's the people I want to be around that would challenge me, that the conversation we'll have, it's talking about how can we progress as a team, or just how can we help each other to progress as people, as individuals, more to better, and that, that's the reason why I say fuck it to this whole script shit and moved on.
Yeah, but at least you did, your part. You learn from it, and that's you get points for that, and Listen, man, it's some people don't even try. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And you said that was your first premiere. That was my first premiere ever too.
There
Of
you
not
go.
not just doing my first premiere of my movie, but even I was, you know what I mean? Like, cause I never knew anybody. I never like I'm from Jersey, like I said. Like in New Brunswick, New Brunswick is like New Brunswick is like, I don't know, it's dead, bro. Like it's not a lot going out there. So when I moved out here to Philly, I'm like, yo, it's people out here. It's a lot of stuff out here, but it's like I don't know nobody. But I like this, like the people out here be like they be jamming, bro. Like they
They
like in my
live, they
block,
live
like
in, yeah.
yeah, like in my block, like I see some old heads, like it don't matter like where they from, like black, Puerto Rican, Dominican, doesn't matter. But they be chilling, bro. Like they don't care. Like they, in Jersey, like at least where I was from, like in the Bronx, like everybody want to be in their house. Like everybody, like bro, you barely see people outside. And I'm like, yo, like I knew if I ain't even come out here to Philly, like I probably would have never done anything. Like no straight
Yeah.
cast, no nothing. So it's like changes are good. Like that's another thing. Like some people are scared of changes. Like you got to embrace change. Like we
Well,
change every day.
change is like everybody's scared of change. Like the unexpected is what kills people. That's what they're afraid of the most. It's like you're
Right.
watching a horror movie, right? And the most scary thing about the horror movie is not the monsters, just when you least expect it, they pop out,
That's when it
right?
hit. Yeah.
And you fucking jump out of your chairs, right? That's change. And people, sometimes you gotta be courageous and say fuck it. You gotta be committed. There's things in life that are gonna work out and things they're not gonna work out.
Right.
But you will never know if you don't go after that. You truly would never know. You sit in your comfort
Right.
zone, you're gonna sink.
And it's like me, like oh man, you mentioned that comfort zone, bro. It's comfortable. That's why many
Yeah.
people don't leave it. Like it's a trap. Like it's a mechanism in our brain, like that comfort zone. Like it's meant to protect us. You know what I mean? But you have to know like how to break that. Like me, like it's like I spoke about this in I opened a YouTube channel. Um I'm not trying to be like a YouTube star or whatever, but I just wanted to have like some content to like
Yeah,
where
yeah.
people can like if they want to learn about like what I do and stuff like
Yeah, like
that.
a reference they can check
Right,
out.
right,
Yeah.
right. And one of the things I was speaking about after like finishing Julie's confession, like I came out like with so much confidence. And it's not that I was like, it's not that I didn't have confidence. It's not like all my life, like I was just this like I was full of doubt. No, not at all. But the thing is, like, when you finish what you started, when something that started as an idea and you executed it, not knowing what was gonna happen, and you finished the whole process, like you could say, like, I finished this. Like, listen, man, if that builds like I came out so confident both as a human being and as a person that makes movies. Like now I know I can make movies. Like before I used to wrestle with doubts. Am I good enough or whatever? Now that's all like all those doubts concerning that aspect, if I'm good enough to make movies, is gone. Because I did my first movie. I took the first step, the hardest step. I did it. Now I'm beginning to meet people that I never knew I would be able to meet if I didn't take that chance. And now I realize, like, man, it feels good to put the work in. Like you know how some people, and ain't nothing wrong with like gaming. I game
Mm-hmm,
sometimes. I
mm-hmm.
play some games, but I get bored quick. But it's like you get addicted to putting the work in. Like you want to, okay, like I did Judas Confession is streaming on Amazon. I'm waiting for other streaming platforms to respond back. I just submitted like some 5 of the soundtracks to it, to put it on
Mm-hmm.
iTunes and all
Mm-hmm.
this other stuff. So I'm waiting for that. But now I'm like, okay, what's next? Because I need to work. I need to do something. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just gonna be like, okay, I did Judas Confession. Now let me just sit back. No, because now you see, like, bro, like hard work or work in general brings in result. And it's like, okay, this project introduced me to many people, introduced me to you, Zay, the people that the actresses and other persons, and it's opening more doors. So now it's like, okay, what's next? What the next project? What is it gonna be? You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
like life can be, because here's the thing, right? You remember like, okay, the Nickelodeon days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember we used to explore life more than we do now. Like, let me explain, right? Like nowadays, everybody is like on their phones. Nothing wrong with it if you're using it for your benefit. But if you're just wasting time, then you know you got to check yourself. But I remember like when I was like 12, 13, like my friends or the people I used to consider friends or the people we used to go to school with, we used to explore life a lot because we didn't have all these stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like like if you wanted to talk with someone or if you wanted to meet girls, you had to go where they were. You had to
Yeah.
like, it had to be face to face. Nowadays, I hear people so much talking about, oh man, life is not the same anymore. Life is boring. Life is this. Like why did I want to grow up for? Like, man, and inside I'm like, what do you even do? You know what I'm
Like
saying? Because if all
nothing.
you, yeah,
That's how they
exactly.
was from, right?
Yeah, because it's like if all you do is just like, all right, you have your 9 to 5 job. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You at least you got a job, you got a full-time job, you have something, you know what I mean? Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like these fake gurus on the internet trying to make people feel like if they got a 9 to 5, like they whack. No, I don't,
No, you should be proud.
you know, exactly. You know what I mean? But like, what do you do after work? Like, okay, let's say you work from 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or 7 to 3, whatever. You still have like a good amount of time. Like, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? So it's like me, you know what I mean? Like the good thing about the process of making movies, you always meet people. You got to work with people, and somebody knows somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, new
So
and
it's
different
like,
people.
right. So it's like now it's like I'm discovering, it's like I'm discovering like people I didn't know existed, places I didn't know existed. Like, and it just makes life more fun, more interesting. Like you don't want to be home just like watching TV. Like you want to be out on the field doing something, meeting people, making new contacts. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what life is all about. It's not what you know to, I mean, to an extent is what you know, but it's more like who you know. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to, like me as a person that makes movie, like I want to meet people like, for example, like you. I want to meet people who are committed to what they do. I want to meet people like in high places. Like that's what life is all about, man. You don't want to stay like in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we know what it's like already to just be stuck in life, to just get home and not have like, you know what I'm saying? Like we already experienced that. I've experienced a divorce at an early, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so it's like, listen, man,
I
when I
feel you
was
100%. Yeah.
when I was younger, I used to hear people like, yeah, he's going through a divorce. I never understood it because, you know, I wasn't married. When it happened to me, damn, damn. You know
Damn.
what I mean? It's like, but life has to go on. Life has to continue. And look, to this day, my ex-wife and I, like, we have such a great she was at the premiere, by the way.
Yeah.
You
That's
know what
what's
I,
up.
yeah. So you know what I mean? Like life has to go on. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you mentioned earlier, like, yo, some people, once they see that you progressing, once they see that you making moves, that you going places, oh, what's up, Dio? Oh yeah, remember that stuff? Yeah. Now they want to come. Like, why? Like, why do
Yeah.
you want to come now? Like, I don't need you now. Like, I needed you back then. Like, why do you want to come now?
No, and they
You
they
know what I'm
stay
saying?
they
Like,
stay they stay angry. They say like you ain't shit.
like,
But
yeah,
you know,
but it was like they don't realize like it was their attitude that made you like, you know what I mean,
yeah,
like treat
yeah.
them that way. And it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal, but it's like,
Hmm.
listen, man, I can't deal with you. Like I'm on a roll. I
Yeah,
know what I want.
and you know, I would always give them the opportunity, but now it's different because I don't got time for that shit.
You don't.
And it's not ego or being belligerent. I always will give you the opportunity, but now it has to be under my terms, my time.
Right.
You know, it's difficult, man, and sometimes people don't even know how to support someone. They just don't.
They don't.
They know they're stuck in it's that environment of negativity. It's real, man. It's real. And sometimes they hate because they see you and they're telling themselves, I wish that was me. I wanted to be that, but I can't. I couldn't. and they see me doing it now. They're hating until you're able to
Mm-hmm.
progress. They able to grow a little bit in life and understand that, damn, I was wrong, and I'm proud of him for doing it. Because if I couldn't do it, at least he's doing something.
Right.
They just don't know how to support.
No, that's why I was like, when I saw you, like, showing the support and everything, that's why, I sent you, like, I definitely appreciate that, because I know how to be thankful. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, and I was like, and I even told Zay, I'm like, what's crazy is too, like, Dio is not even like, that I know of.
Yeah,
Dio is not even like someone who make, like, he's not like a filmmaker person or someone
yeah,
who's involved, like, and he's the one that's showing most of the support.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, you
yeah,
would expect more filmmakers to be like, nah, like, go support, so and so. But it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
damn, like, Dio is a very rare individual, because, like you mentioned, there is a lot of envy.
yeah, yeah,
There is, like, I have, like, the short time I have, like, uh, making movies, and like just seeing the circle
yeah,
of
yeah,
filmmakers, like, I noticed, like, yo, there's a lot of people full of
yeah,
themselves,
man.
bro.
I
And I'm like,
I try to support anybody that wants to do something with their life, man. Honestly, there's just
that's
one
what's
guy
up.
that there's one guy that I follow. I've never met, but he's always like he creates hats, fedoras, or whatever types of hat, and I promote him because I'm proud. I'm happy to see that somebody doing something with their fucking life.
Right.
Like that's do it. It's like it's just do it. When you like an entrepreneur, when you first start being an entrepreneur, you're just having a fucking idea. You don't know how. The first 5 years of starting a business, your fifth year is when you actually start making money. Those 4 years is trying to manage what the fuck to do,
Right.
because you can go to college and learn that, but then when you come out of college, you've lost a massive amount of time. You're in fucking debt. Now you're trying to look for a job, and if you don't have experience, they're not gonna hire you because you got a fucking degree,
Right. Right.
right? So I like I've come from a place that, man, there was no hope or dreams. All motherfucker wanted to fucking. There's one guy who would fuck a pig when he got drunk. Like those motherfuckers that all they do want is fucking sniff coke, or fucking all the motherfuckers just wants to fuck his cousin. Like some real hillbilly shit. I
Yeah.
mean, I
It's
mean that
crazy.
shit. And, anybody listening, it sounds offensive. I mean every fucking word because it's true.
Right.
They don't want to do nothing more than life. I used to, there used to be this, like my grandparents had a store, right? And behind that store, there was the trap house, right? These motherfuckers went from being like the kingpins of the east south side of Puerto Rico. I'm from Laos, Puerto Rico. Kingpins,
Okay.
right? They end up being crackheads and junkies.
Wow.
One, a couple of years back, one got shot in the head because they caught him stealing. Like they went from being this all the way to the most minimum. Like there's shit,
Damn.
there's dirt, and they're under that,
That's
right?
crazy.
So I've seen all this, and I used to sit down and have conversations with me, not knowing, just question, there has to be more. You don't want to do more than this. And there's one guy like you're sniffing coke, another guy rolling, and I'm not partaking. I'm just passing by. Like I've never been a big drug user. Well, never been a drug user or drinker. But I used to ask that question, like, you don't fucking want more than this? Nah.
Mm-hmm.
Estoy bien. And rolling up or drinking. Like I grew up in a fucking bar where all motherfuckers did was get drunk and talk about their heartbreak and whatnot. There was no possibility of anything. The progression. That word is like extinct. Or if it was not extinct, it's never existed in that surrounding. And I wanted more, and I wanted more, and nobody gave me an opportunity. Nobody fucking supported me. I came out here. I when I came out here, like in 2010, that I officially moved, I knew I wanted to do real estate. Every time I told somebody about real estate, they were like, "That's a scam. Nobody wants to help me." Now, and me being new, I didn't know how shit would work.
Right.
Uh, I wanted to go to school. Like I wanted to be like a lawyer. Every time I went to school, I needed money. Every time I looked for support, nobody fucking supported me. And I just keep working. Uh, Met people along the way that were good at first, but then I'm not gonna say anything negative. We just grew apart, and it wasn't until I actually met my wife and we fell in love, and fucking 6 years later we're still married with a baby, that I actually had some support. And in that support, I said fuck it, and I started doing this. Sometimes you're not gonna get support. You know, and I know la mañana, how we say in Spanish.
Right.
It takes time, and sometimes you got the support there, and sometimes you say fuck it, and you just bet on yourself, man.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. This film industry, bro, bunch of fucking leeches. Once you're good now, that guy, the money gets in. Everybody is a prima donna. That's facts. You can only hope to do the best that you can and be satisfied with you do, because as long as you do something, you're gonna be okay.
Right.
And fuck the world.
Yeah, man. Hearing you talk is like, man, it's a lot of stuff that go in my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, that's a movie right there. Like all the stuff you're saying and everything. You know what I
Shit.
mean? But it's true though. Like it's like, I don't know. Like people, I don't know what's up with them, bro. Like it's a lot of procrastination. Like they don't want to do anything. And then when you do something, it's like, oh, tú te crees que tú eres mejor que nosotros ahora. Like you think you're better than us now?
Yo,
Like, bro, it has nothing to do with that. But if you think that, there's a reason why you feel that way. Because like your own conscience is telling you, like, you need to be doing more. You know what I mean? So like me listening to you, and it's like, damn, like I remember I used to like, I would ask myself that, like, yo, there has to be something more than just going to work and come home. I used to say that to myself, but I'm like, yo, how do I get there? Like, how do I start? Because I knew, like, yo, this can't be it, man. This can't just, like, I wasn't happy with that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I used to live in Jersey, like I had a job, they used to pay me $21 an hour. Like that's good money, but I wasn't happy at that job because I'm like, I felt like my life was just from home to work and that's it. Because sometimes like the overtime was mandatory, and I would just be drained, bro. Like I would be drained, but then I'm like, damn, I got money but no time. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, there has to be something more than that. Like I'm not gonna be here 20, 30 years to then wait for retirement. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it to like get there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, there has to be another way. And it's good that you mentioned that, because like I had that, like you mentioned about, the first 5 years of like in the business, like you start making money after 5 years. Like I have that same exact mentality with making movies, right? Like I just did my first official movie, Julie's Confession. You know what I mean? Like I have it, for rental and buying at the moment. After 6 months, I'm gonna submit it for so people who have Prime could just watch it. Even though I'm still gonna get revenue based on the viewing time, but it's exactly what you said. Like I would love to make a career out of film. You know what I'm saying? But for me to do that is a lot of work that has to go in it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I only have one movie at the time, but what about when I have 5 movies or 10 movies, good ones, because I'm gonna take my time. But these are movies that I own the rights to. You know what I'm saying?
Which is the most important part.
Right. So once I have at least 10 movies, Genao Pictures, you know what I'm saying? Like now, that it's like you're building a business in general. Cause like right now I only have one product, Judy's Confession. But when you have another one and then another one and then another one, you're building something. The algorithm of both Amazon and other platforms are going to recognize your name right away. You know what I'm saying? But we go back to what we were saying earlier. It's not going to happen de la noche a la mañana. You know what I'm saying? But I'm okay with that. That's the name. Time is going to pass by no matter what. So I might as well do something. If I don't die tomorrow, que Dios no quiera, right? I'm going to get old regardless. So I might as well get old, doing something along the way. You get what I'm trying to say? Because like we have this energy now, we got to take advantage of this energy, of this strength, because we don't know what could happen tomorrow.
This is the time where you plant your seed, so in the future you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. And when you go outside, you can pick the fruit and not have to pay for it. you know.
Exactly.
Like you mentioned something incredible, that you started with one. That's all you need is one. That's all you
Mm-hmm.
need is one. On June 4th, 2021, I created my first podcast and published it. This one is gonna be my 42nd,
Look
right?
at that.
I've until yesterday, I don't look at views, I don't look at likes, I don't look at comments. I learned recently, I in my Spotify, whatever audio version, I got over 600 listeners. And the only reason I know that is because I got my first sponsor
Mm-hmm.
since I started.
Look at that.
After that, I kept them moving. I still haven't looked at it. You know why? Because I'm not worried about the creative or everything, the money. I'm creating about creating consistency and creating something.
Right.
Because like you said, one by one by one, you start creating and building your empire, building your catalog. That's all you need. I made one. What's the next one?
Right.
Let's focus that energy on that. Little do you know, you have fucking 10 movies out.
Yeah.
Not worried about what people saying, just trusting you and what you have practiced your craft in, and that's it. You're in a very competitive, shady industry. So
Mm-hmm.
what you tell yourself is fuck what people are saying, fuck their comments, fuck their money, because if not pay me to do something, not if I'm producing my shit, I'm gonna take my time because I'm gonna do it right
Right.
and keep doing you and keep doing you. You keep your head down, keep fucking do you and continue doing you. Next thing
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have fucking 5, 10 movies out. You're fucking being nominated and shit. And little do you know, all you did was believe in yourself and put in the fucking work.
Yeah. There's no secret to it. Like I always, I don't know why some people like believe like there's some secret to like success. Like every time I hear like, people asking like different artists, whether it be like a someone who makes music, movies, whatever, like, what is your secret? And I'm like, yo, there is no secret, man. Like it's just put in the work.
Yeah.
Like when you see someone have major success, like what you don't see is like all the stuff they done previously, and then that one thing they do that puts them on the map. You assume that was just like, oh, they're like that's what made them successful. Like, no, man, they got like, tienen una trayectoria, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, look, like I'm enjoying this conversation. Like I ain't think we was gonna last that long, but it's just like we have so much to talk about. We can identify with one, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that saying, like real recognize real.
Yeah.
And like we're exchanging energy. So it's like when the energy is good, like, you want to feed off that, because it's like also it's like a therapy session, like what we're talking about. You
Yes.
talk, I
Yes.
listen,
Yes.
like we feel good, and then when it's done, it's like, man, like now let me just have a cup of coffee or something. Because again, like, bro, there's nothing wrong with this if you know how to use it to your advantage. But yo,
Yes.
when I see people like on this, and I'm like, I'm standing right in fucking front of you and you're not paying attention to me, like I got a
Oh,
problem with that. So when I could find someone like you or Zay or other people that I can talk to for hours and I don't see them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I love that. You know what I mean? Like don't you find it like crazy, like people who depress, right? And
mhm.
and I'm actually like writing a movie that deals with depression. I don't know if that's gonna be my next one, but I want to deal with that topic because I've experienced um some of it, and I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
But you look at people, for example, who deal with depression, right? Like they gotta go to a strange, they gotta go and pay a stranger to talk to them about their problem, right? Or whatever it is.
Mhm.
This person has a notebook or whatever, right?
Mhm.
But here's the thing: once you're done talking, once they go to their first session, their second session, they start to feel good, and they assume it's they assume it's the therapy in itself. But what they don't realize is that you're talking face to face to another human being, and that's what's making you feel better, instead of
Yes.
you being on your fucking phone all the time when you're not interacting with no humans. like
Yes.
like i'm
Yes.
talking like i'm talking like I talk with a girl, right? We just talking, but And she thinks like texting is a form of communication. I'm like, yo, I want to talk to you, like call you. Oh, I like the text. I'm like, man, fuck all that. I don't like texting is okay if you're in a hurry. But if I know you have the time, I want to talk. It's not the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Facts.
you know what I mean? So it's like when we talking right now, like this is a genuine conversation, even though we're using, the computer, the camera, but it's one-on-one. And that's why, like, when you meet someone also, it's like I saw, it's like a post I see. Like sometimes there's some good posts that they be posting like on Instagram. And I saw a post that said like it's in black and white, but it has like two men just like talking to one another. And at the bottom it said like there's no better thing than a good conversation with the right person.
Yes.
And it's true, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like the
Yes.
fact that we can continue talking, you know what I mean? That shows, you know what I'm saying? But I can tell you this, like there's some people like I cannot even talk for like 2 minutes because it's like, like they don't think alike, they don't have the same goals, they don't like you said, like you don't see them like wanting more out of life, and they don't even have nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn. So it's like when we find someone,
It's rare.
it is, man. It really is.
It's rare, man. There's not a lot of us. I'll tell you that much. It's very it's it's
There
not
isn't.
there's not a lot. It's very hand picked it, me on a general basis, I just don't talk. I don't, my wife, she's dominant in that, so I just listen. I love to listen to her talk, depending on what she's saying, because she's saying some crazy shit. She just lost me. Um, but in the public, it's difficult me to like. I met Zay over there in Philly for the premiere, and I was honest with this. I get very uncomfortable being surrounded people. Here's my card. Let me know what happens and hit me up, and we'll talk from there. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like you put Hulk in a fucking train, right? I can't do it. I grew up in a very uh traumatic environment that I didn't know was traumatic. Everything
Right.
was gonna pop off any minute. That's where I come from. Uh, so I try to do my best to avoid people. If I don't have to speak, I don't speak because people tend to misinterpret what I'm saying.
Right.
It takes a conversation like this to actually explain what I'm saying.
Right.
A lot of people nowadays speak as if they were texting.
Yeah, man. I hate that, bro.
And I can't do reading paragraphs, but I also can't do you speaking to me half-ass, expecting me to understand everything you're fucking saying. That's
Right.
not. I'm sorry, that's not the type of human being I am. So I just get the fuck out.
No, no. Listen, man. I totally get you, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like I've noticed, like I'm convinced, like one of the things, like it's crazy that even if you say hi to like a stranger on the street, they assume like you're a predator or you're like trying to, or you have
Oh,
like some bad intentions. Like it's
oh
crazy that I can't
man.
even say like, hey, how you doing? Especially like if I'm a man and I approach a woman, even just saying hi, bro. Like, why do they have to assume like I have like some weird intentions? Like it's crazy. Like everybody's literally like just like distant. You know what I'm saying? And so like me, like, look, man, I can listen. I know how to talk with the right, like if like for example with you, since like if I'm with the right person, like I can talk. That's
Yeah.
because I know I'm with the right person. But I can also shut my ass off and I know how to listen and pay attention. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to do like both things.
Yeah.
But honestly though, like if I can talk with you, like I don't want to text with you, man. Like, cause the thing with texting is like sometimes you text someone like, "Oh, how you doing?" And then you're like, "Oh, I'm good." Oh, damn, why you sound so dry? Like, I don't sound dry. I'm replying. It's just that you don't hear my voice,
Yeah.
and
It's
you
it's
don't you
miscommunication. The
exact
way
bro.
the way the message interpretates what you're saying,
Exactly,
it's messing up the vibe.
exactly. And I have had many occasions where people really think like I'm mad or I'm upset, but again, it's because you don't hear my voice. You can't discern my mood. So what I do is I just put a big ass happy face, so they would just think like,
Yeah.
because now it's like you got to put that happy face, otherwise they think you're serious. And I'm like, yo, it's crazy, like,
This
like
is what it
man,
come through. You gotta like to make somebody feel comfortable, right? Just to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, just to
You
do
have a
that.
responsible. You have no idea who this person is or are, but this is what you have to do just to make them feel comfortable. Because if not, you're fucked.
Right. And so with me, like dealing with actors, that's why I like, we do Zoom meetings. I need to talk to you. I don't want to text. I don't want to hear
Yes, yeah.
voice. We don't have to like meet up personally because I know some of us, we don't live close and everything. But we need to have a meeting where we're all giving our undivided attention to what's going on here. But we can't be texting. No, like I don't. It needs to happen like this, and like the direct. Like, look, man, directing, it's a lot of people, I guess, they want to be directors or whatever, because I think they just think it's a cool thing to be, like, oh, director, so and so.
They just
So
want to
let
feel
me be a
empowered.
director.
They just want
But
to feel empowered. They want to tell people what to do, and it's not the same.
no, it's not, bro. It's a stressful situation. It's like, look, man, like when I did Why Do You Love Me? I don't know if you've seen that short film, but
Not yet.
when Zay put me to direct them, I was like, what the hell did I get myself into, man? Like, yo, I'm like, they're not sounding convincing. They sound fake. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm thinking Zay got like professionals, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's okay, because that's how life comes at you. Life is not always gonna come with you. Like, life is gonna, okay, let me test you. Zay didn't do that intentionally. But I remember the first time we met, like me, Zay, the actress and Jose. And I remember just doing a read, and I'm like, oh my goodness, man, this sounds so fake, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I had to tell them, like, I literally had to tell them, like, listen, say that line slower, say this and that. Like, I literally had to take my time. And sometimes there were parts where I had to tell Jose, like, look, say it exactly like I'm gonna say it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it was sounding so unrealistic. And the job of a director is to make sure that the acting, the scene, everything is convincing. So I'm glad that both him and Nashali, the actress who played um I forget, Ashley. Yeah, that's her name. Her name is Ashley, and then she plays Ashley. No wonder I'm like, I was lost. So I'm glad that they both trusted my direction. And then when I heard people who saw it, like they look very convincing, like the acting was good. Obviously, a lot of people don't know that has to do with who's directing, but I feel good because I know I did my job. But listen, when you're working with inexperienced people, it can be very frustrating. Very
Yes.
frustrating. That's why, like, when I hired the people I did for Duty's Confession, I needed to see like some of the previous work to avoid that I'm working with newbies, because working with newbies is like you waste a lot of time because they don't know a lot of things. So you got to explain it to them. You got to be like, okay, whereas a more experienced actor or actress, you tell them, okay, you give them a little bit of explanation, like, okay, this paragraph, this, and that, and then this line, um, because it's the most important line, it's the punchline. I need you to give more emphasis, especially to the verb, this and that. They get it right away. You know what I mean? So directing can be very stressful, bro. Very, very freaking stressful. Like
I
when
can
I hear people
imagine.
like, because when the good movie comes out and director so and so, oh, but listen, man, it's you really have to love it, because if not, it's, bro, you'd be like, this is not for me. I'm not dealing with this, you know.
No, I feel it, man. It must be difficult, especially um, working with people that haven't really been in the industry and really have experience doing what you're doing. So how many times you got is like uh, raising a toddler? You know how many times you got to repeat yourself
Hmm.
on a daily basis?
Right.
I
So that's why I
mean,
was like, I was fortunate that at least with the cast for Julie's Confession, like, so far I haven't had like people like tell me like um haven't given me any problems, because I'm not problematic. It's just I know when something doesn't sound right, when something doesn't look right, And I also know the performance that I want from the actors. And that's all I ask for. And then when you see it on screen, it's gonna look good. You know, um, I have some people that want to work with me. Zay has informed me about it. And again, not to brag, but I'm sure it's because they see, like, man, this guy, you can tell he's
You see the
serious about his
potential.
work.
Yeah.
Right. And people want to work with someone who's serious about their work, someone who is not procrastinating, someone who doesn't take 2 years to do it, to finally finish a movie. They see, like, his delivery, his sense of urgency. Like, I want to work with someone like that, you know.
Also got shit done.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I said, like, I consider myself fortunate that I can do the things I do, because I can save a lot of time. I can guarantee a more organic delivery, since and a better vision, because since I'm the one who's going to direct, write, edit, film, I already see all that in my head. So I already know what I want, as opposed to me having to explain to the cinematographer what I want, then explain to the editor what I want, then explain to the actors, the performer. Like, I only have to work with the actors and tell them what I want, because everything else, the editing and everything, I'm going to take care of that. So it's a blessing, because again, I can save time, I can save money, I can strategize, you know what I mean? But again, it goes back to the necessity. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like you mentioned earlier, like, you come from a traumatic household, and I know that pushed you more to, like, get more out of life. And sometimes, like, we have to go through things like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's what's gonna open up our eyes. Like, there's a saying, I don't know if you ever heard it, but there's a saying that says that necessity is the mother of all creativity.
Mm.
Because when you have money, you don't care about anything. Oh, just go buy it.
Yeah.
But when you don't have the money and you need to figure out a way to solve a problem, you start looking for solutions. Your mind starts to work. So me knowing I can't pay a writer, or I can't get a producer, I can't get a cinematographer, a sound person, an editor. I knew, like, look, if I want to do this, I'm going to educate myself to the best that I can out of necessity, and give it the best that I can. And fast forward to today, I was able to, make my first official film, and people actually liked it. They liked the story, the visuals,
Yeah,
everything,
man.
because
It's very relatable.
the thing is, like, sometimes when the person is the one who directs, edits, do the cinematography, most of the time it doesn't come out that good, because sometimes you're more of a director than you are a cinematographer, or you're more a cinematographer than you are a director, or you're more of an editor than you are both of these things. Whereas with me, like, my mind just treats all of this like if it's just one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that, God willing, the day that if I ever, like, work with high-end people, that, I'm not gonna, like, all I'm gonna be doing, let's say, is directing. I know exactly what to tell them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But
You know,
it's all
you're gonna know how to carry yourself.
right,
You
right. You
know.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's you never, it's like, even though it took me the time it took me to do my first movie, like, I had to learn what I learned and study, but it pays off. And the thing is, like, once you learn and know these things, you don't forget them. Like, I'm not going to forget how to film. I'm not going to forget how cinematography works. I'm not going to forget how to edit, because once you learn that, that's it. It stays with you. So it's another skill that you have that makes you more of more value. It increases your value. If some people want to work with you, or some people want you to work for them, you can charge what you're worth, because you have like all these valuable skills, and they know, like, yeah, this guy, he executes what he does. It's not just the skill, like, also his delivery. Like, you give him a deadline, boom, he has it. So it's like they all build up. You know what I mean? It's so, like, everything you learn in life, it's in the moment. You may not see, like, results, whatever, but like never take it for granted, man. Never, like, learn as much
Facts.
as you think.
Yes.
You know, like, I'm sure like you did with business, so I know, like, you know about marketing, you know a lot about, like, what you learn about business, no one can take that away from you.
Mhm.
And that's it. Once you learned it, that's it. Whether you learned it the hard way, you read a book or whatever,
Mhm.
but once you learned it and you know how it works, that's it.
And business, honestly, it's knowing your numbers, but most of all, like, just a simple way to explain it is knowing where you want to go. Now,
Exactly.
once you know where you want to go, what do you have in front of you, and how can you make use of what you have to get where you want to go?
Exactly.
You know, you want to set a margin, that's your goal. How do I get there?
Exactly.
And figuring that, like you said just now, figuring that out, your mind starts to just, maganial, and you keep going and going, and boom, 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 either there or you over,
Exactly.
and that's it.
Yeah, man.
But listen, brother, we can sit here and talk all night. I
Nah,
gotta put my
I
son to
know.
bed.
Nah, you good, bro. You good. You good.
Thank you for joining me.
Nah, thank you
I
for
want to
having
do
me.
I want to do this again with Zay. I want to chop it up with you guys. Uh, Julie's Confessions and Amazon Prime right now. Go watch that. Go show some love and support to this amazing, talented director. Thank you for being with me, man. An honorable conversation. A pleasure to have you.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure being with you. And we definitely might, have to work on some things in the future, man. You got some
Yes.
stories, man.
Oh man, I have. Well, we can sit down and you'll
Hey,
see.
well, I know. Well, you say you're from Jersey City, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I mean, I got family in Brunswick. If I ever go out there one day, I got your number. I'm gonna be like, listen, I'm gonna be in Jersey. If you off, we can meet up. You know what I mean? Have a cup of coffee, whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
talk.
definitely, definitely. I
So yeah,
appreciate
man.
that. Now, before we go, tell the people where they can find you at.
You can find me and oh, my phone is just ringing. You can find me on Facebook, Ralding Genao 7. Same thing on Instagram, Ralding Genao 7. Or you can go on YouTube and just put Genao Pictures. It's my recent YouTube channel where I just talk about the things about making a movie, the process, things I learned, and so forth. And yeah, that's where you can find me so far.
There you go, guys. Go hit him up. Go follow him. Go show him some love and support. Make sure you go check out Julie's Confession now on Amazon Prime. You'll let us know if it releases on any other platform.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm still waiting for them to, because it's under review. So once it's done, I'll definitely let you know.
Well, there you go, guys. Zay Rodriguez, thank you for making this happen. I had a pleasure. Franklin, thank you. And I'm out,
Dio.
guys. Have a good night.